Every 3 seconds, some government official creates a new official secret. But it takes decades before some other official decides whether we get to see it. There are now over 28 million cubic feet of secret papers, equivalent in volume to 26 Washington monuments. That's more than 5 times more paper than has been archived from the entire history of the Republic. The production of classified electronic records is orders of magnitude greater. The digital equivalent of 1 trillion pages of classified documents every single year. If these were paper records and lined up in file cabinets, this row of secret dossiers would circle the world. So what are we, the people, supposed to make of all of this? I'm Sam Waterston, and I'm here at Columbia University to tell you about the Freedom of Information Archive.
I began to realize as an historian that not only was there more and more being produced in the way of declassified documents, like 1.4 billion that have been declassified just in the last 25 years, but that in fact more and more was being withheld, and that we're only getting a tiny piece of it. So it's estimated that, and when I say we, I mean not just historians, but as citizens, as journalists, we're only seeing about 1 to 3% of the documentary record that's produced by government.
I've spent my life chasing classified information and finding it to be not only an outrageously haphazard and crazy system, but serving a selfish political interests of bureaucrats who are, for the most part, not guarding national secrets.
Max Frankel should know. He was the one who got the Supreme Court to agree the government had to stop covering up how it blundered and lied its way into the killing fields of Vietnam and Cambodia. More and more of this history consists not of documents like the Pentagon Papers, but encrypted emails and text messages, remote sensing data, and surveillance footage.
When I talk to people in government about this, they would say that it's not just about the State Department cables or even about Hillary Clinton's emails. The whole system for how the government reviews documents to decide what can be released is beginning to break down.
But what if, right now, a team of historians, computer scientists, and mathematicians began to assemble the millions of documents that have been declassified in a single database and began to train algorithms and high-performance computers to discover what is missing? In fact, a team of researchers at Columbia has been conducting just such experiments. This project is called History Lab. And the experiments happening there show how data mining is no longer just a technique for state or corporate surveillance. Instead, citizens can use it to turn the tables, reveal what the government did not want us to see, and in that way restore both basic sanity and democratic accountability to our national security state. History Lab has already created the world's largest database of declassified documents, the Freedom of Information Archive. It is a model archive for the age of electronic records, one that will scale with the projected growth and diversification of digital media, whether audio, video, or imagery. Users can explore it with a set of cutting-edge machine learning tools, create research communities, and ultimately upload their own declassified records. Already, the Freedom of Information Archive is becoming a platform for new kinds of teaching and research, as students begin to realize that they too can make history.
What I see happening is that our students are no longer just thinking of history as something that they read about. Instead, they're beginning to think of it as a kind of data science. They're thinking of it as something that they themselves can create through the experiments that they run and through the tools that they build.
Ironically, the tools that are being built at History Lab are precisely the kind of tools that can help the government identify information that really does require safekeeping. That's why History Lab researchers have been invited to brief the State Department, the CIA, and the National Declassification Center. The ultimate goal is to build a declassification engine, which will automatically identify documents requiring close scrutiny and accelerate the release of everything else. Over time, the Freedom of Information Archive could grow to become truly global, a shelter for vulnerable and vital data from around the world, safe from those who would seek to restrict our knowledge, violate our privacy, or obscure our past. How our information is preserved and protected is a core issue in the age of big data. And what's happening at History Lab is at the center of the struggle. Because if even historians can't know what government does in our name, decades after the fact, what future is there for basic democratic accountability? But if we can build that Freedom of Information Archive and keep it free for the entire world, we can not only save history, we can lay a new foundation for a more democratic society. To learn more about the Freedom of Information Archive, go to the History Lab website, history-lab.org.